sucker!
Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me. They also call him the BOAT. All right, so let's just give him his props. But guys, I want to thank everybody for stepping inside the Hall of Fame with me here today to get your champagne wishes, caviar dreams. Guys, we're gonna do it like it's supposed to be done, like we always do. Got a whole lot to talk about, man. But I just want to say, last week, at the end of last week, I was a little off, man. I got to give praise to my dog Shogun, man. She passed away after 13 years, man, and she was a Siberian Husky. 13 years. They told me when I first brought her home that she had this thing going on where she would get very lethargic, where she would like just totally can control herself for a second, would just be out of it for a minute. And they told me that she wasn't going to live past 1 year, and I should put her to sleep. And I said, man, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. So I brought her home, and she had an episode, and I say, man, what do I do when I'm having an episode? Ice. You know, so I filled up an ice bag and I put the ice bag on her head, right? So she sat there with that ice bag on her head for about 30 minutes in the bed with Charmel and I. And after 30 minutes, she kicked out of it. And I was like, whoa, boom, she was back to normal. And ever since she was a puppy, she had maybe, I don't know, a handful, maybe 10 episodes growing up. But she lived to be 13 years old when they said I should put her to sleep. And she was here when my kids came through the door. Nobody could come close to the kids when she was around, you know, when they were babies. And it was amazing how my kids could just rough her up, and you know, she wouldn't even get mad. But if I did it, she would, you know, want to bite me, you know, so it was crazy. But 13 years, man, and I was beat up from Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I was beat up pretty good, but I just want to say, guys, I'm back on track. Blessings to my dog Shogun, man. I'm a dog lover, man. I'm a dog lover, and I had to go through this once before my dog Portia, and I tell you, it was just as rough doing it with Portia. But I'm back, guys. I'm back on track, man. We got a whole lot to talk about. I see my man Brad right now. He's frozen. I'm frozen. Am I frozen or is Brad? Well, I think it's Brad is frozen. But right now, guys, we got a whole lot to talk about. Stuff that went down over the weekend. UFC went down over the weekend. The final UFC event for 2021, headlining Derek Lewis versus Chris Dukas. And I tell you, man, I didn't expect fireworks in that fight, but when there's a Derek Lewis fight, it's always fireworks, as well as Bilal Muhammad actually mixed it up with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, as well as Tiger Woods is back. And I tell you, man, for a second, I didn't think we would see Tiger back out on the course, especially playing at a high level. But to see Tiger out there with his son Charlie at that PNC championship, that father and son duo, man, what an awesome time seeing Tiger back out there, as well as wrestling news. Wrestling news went down over this weekend. Stuff that I missed, actually. The stuff with Hannibal. I've only met Hannibal a couple of times. I really don't know Hannibal a whole lot. But I definitely want to get my take on what went down at the indie show that those guys were a part of. I don't know, man. It's business crazy, man. It's business crazy. It's always been that way. The thing is, this is not anything that's new. Stuff like that. It's always been guys that always wanted to push the envelope, become famous overnight, and that's the That's the result of it. But Bradley, I see you. I see you back. Everything's good.
Yeah, everything's fine. Everything's fine. We didn't lose anything or anything like that. Just working on this connection issue. But I do want to say real quick. I know we were going to talk about Hannibal. I did have the privilege of knowing Shogun. Shogun was a great dog. So just rest in peace. I was actually telling Charmel today. I had forgotten about it, but I was getting ready this morning. And one time I went over to your house for a meeting or for whatever we were doing. Shogun would get really excited, so she would jump on you when you got there. She was a very excited dog. And I guess her nail was a little bit sharp. So I remember she jumped on me one time and it just cut my arm just a little bit, right? Just a small little cut. But for some reason it scarred. So I still have on my arm right here just a little scar from Shogun that I'll have forevermore. So I'll have a forever memory. And I'm not mad about it at all.
Hey, man, nah, man. You had, how old was Brad? You think you can take one Shogun from a behind? Hey, man, nah, man. I'm a dog lover, and the house right now seems empty. And my little girl, she's got that book, that dog book, and I said, baby, we can't get anything. Let's get something that don't shed a whole lot of hair. Let's do that. And she was like, all right, so she goes look through the dog books and she comes back and show me this dog and it's got dreadlocks. What about this one? I go, no. but I tell you, man, it affected her. It took my little boy down, man. My little boy, Kendrick James, he came home and he slept for 4 hours straight, man.
Yeah.
After he heard about Shogun, he was just that beat up about it. But I tell you, man, we keep moving along. We keep doing our thing. But how was your weekend, man?
Weekend was good. We took a little road trip to Hot Springs, Arkansas. So spent some time up there, saw some friends, just kind of relaxed. I don't know if you've ever taken, have you ever been to Hot Springs? I think I've asked you this before. Have you ever been there?
Nah, I mean, Colorado Springs.
You've been to Colorado Springs?
We got it mixed up last time.
Yeah.
Talking about this. Yeah.
So, I mean, this time I actually went and I did the bathhouse thing where you go in and they have
you didn't run into Justice Smollett, did you?
I didn't. I don't know why. No, I did not. It wasn't a brothel or
no. He was in the bathhouse with one of the,
I think that's a different kind of bathhouse. I think that's a very specific thing that occurs.
These guys want to have the actual real hot springs.
Yeah. This was a hot springs.
This is what kind of, natural, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
This wasn't a Smollett situation. Trust me. And, so it was just nice and relaxing. It was a relaxing weekend to get away. But you know what? That drive normally feel shorter on the way back. Like normally, like when you drive somewhere, like the way home feels shorter. For some reason, this was a long one. It's about 6.5 hour drive from Houston.
It's always longer on the way back for me.
I know, felt like forever.
I know I'm coming home. When I'm going to have fun. So everything is interesting. The road, everything on the road is cool. Hey, check that out over there. That kind of stuff. But coming back, now for me though, one thing I found out is riding in the RV in the Winnebago.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I could ride all day. It don't bother me at all, man. I mean, I love just being in that thing and being able to see everything as well. I just came back from Galveston. That's where I was over the weekend. I took off again. I left everything. Again, man. And I went to Galveston and laid down there at Delamere. Big ups to my people down there at Delamere RV Park, right there on the seawall, Galveston, Texas. And I just hung out, man. The weather wasn't great or anything like that, but it was still nice just to be down there and just be on the beach. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that it's as I get older, and I'm not old by any means, but as I get older, you realize that you treasure those moments where you can truly get away and not worry about anything. You know what I mean? Because you get so involved in the rat race of life and keeping up with the Joneses and getting this done. Oh, I got to go do this. I got to meet this person. I got to talk to this person. I got to send this email. I got to work on this video. I got to, or whatever. That when you can really unplug and the cell reception isn't very good out in Hot Springs, I couldn't do a whole lot of social media interactions or anything like that. So it's good. It's nice to really unplug in today's world because I'm telling you, man, you can get caught up in thinking that social media is real life and and this is how people are, and this is what's going on in the world. And once you unplug from it all, you get great perspective. I had a great perspective coming back. You know what I mean?
Bro, I'm gonna tell you, bro, unplugging is something I've been doing a lot of lately, and I'm gonna keep on doing it. I told Charmel, look at y'all ain't got to go. All right, just stay your asses at home. If y'all don't want to go, don't go. And that's just my little deal to make them. All right, then we'll just stay at home. All right, cool. I go by myself.
You did exactly what I wanted you to do.
But no, man, we gotta take a quick break. But we got a whole lot to talk about, guys. I know you guys got questions. Stick around, guys. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, William Regal, one of the goats, right? One of the goats from the UK scene. Yeah. UK goat. Didn't you say though that Regal? Did you say that Regal used to have an issue with you? Didn't you say that?
Well, thing is, I just never liked Regal.
What? Why? You're being funny, right? Regal seems like a cool dude.
It wasn't that I didn't like Regal. It's just that I didn't know him, And the first time Regal and we ran into each other at the Main Event Gym right there in Atlanta, Georgia, in Marietta. And it was Sting's gym. Vividly remember it like it was yesterday. And Sid took us over there to work out, and Regal was on his way out, and we were on our way in. And I just eyeballed him, just want to test him. But I think I had a chip on my shoulder when I first came into business, and I just wanted to, look a man in his eye and just see exactly what he was all about. One thing I saw when I looked in Regal's eye, I saw he was a guy that didn't mind getting into a little scrap. I think that's why him and we always got along pretty good. I think that's why Finley and I always got along pretty good, because we both came from kind of like somewhat similar upbringings, even, from two different worlds. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's pretty cool that you saw that in him the first time y'all met. But this is what I remember. Didn't he have like an issue with you saying you were top 5 in the world?
Well, he had an issue with me saying I was, one of the top 5 workers in the world. And a lot of guys, Stone Cold Steve Austin, he brought that up.
Yeah, you could tell that bothered even Steve back in the day.
A lot of guys that kind of rubbed the wrong way, I think, in the locker room. Me being a brash young guy saying that I was one of the top 5 workers in the world at that time, and hadn't won a world title yet.
Had you won any title?
Well, I had won tag team gold, but I don't think I hadn't won any singles gold or anything like that.
Right.
But I still was saying I was one of the top 5 workers in the world at that time. And like I say, but like I told Steve, I kind of backed it up a lot too. When I went out and performed in tag team wrestling or in singles wrestling, I thought I was top flight. I thought I was a top flight worker. I just did. And a lot of those guys, I don't know, may not have wanted to give me the credit for it, but a lot of those guys in the locker room, they knew how good I was. They knew. They all knew. And it wasn't to be debated how good Booker T was. The kid was good. He was good. He was real good. Sometimes some people might say he was perfect. I'm just saying. Can you dig it, sucker? Boom! Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Yeah, man, like I say, a whole lot went down over the weekend. You look like you got something on your mind.
What? Well, I was just going to say, I know there's a lot that went down in the weekend. We're going to talk about everything, but we already are starting with our first of the week.
Super Chat. I can tell you had something on your mind.
I know. Money's on the mind. B Stars with $5 says, hey, Book, any inside scoop on if The Undertaker will wrestle one final match at WrestleMania? I think people are asking this because it's been going around the internet that WrestleMania is in Dallas. Undertaker's a Texas boy in Dallas. There were rumors even back at WrestleMania 32 that he was going to think about hanging it up then. Do you think WrestleMania 38 at AT&T Stadium, do we see Undertaker again?
Honestly, I do not think we're going to see The Undertaker in ring at WrestleMania 38. And the thing is, can The Undertaker come back and do one more match? I'm sure he could. I'm sure. That's what wrestlers do, man. Whether they can do it or not, it's almost like I say, okay, there's the ring right there. Just push me and I'll do the rest. Yeah, that's the way wrestlers are. It's like, just get me started. You know what I mean? If you could just get me started, I'll get going. Can the Undertaker go out and do another match? Yes, I think he could. But I think for the nostalgia of the Undertaker, I just think, it's too early to see him in the ring right now and really get our bang for our buck as far as, oh man, we're going to see the Undertaker come back and do it again. If he came back and did it now, I just don't think we would get that same feeling if we got it. I don't know, when people thought that he couldn't do it. I think we get more out of something like that. But I was reading something earlier today, since Dallas is going to be in, WrestleMania is going to be in Dallas. Stone Cold Steve Austin, they were trying to get him to actually come out and do something. I don't think from a wrestling perspective per se, but I think they were trying to get Stone Cold, being a Texas boy, to come back and do something as well.
Well, I will say this: WrestleMania 32 in Dallas, the 101,763 people who were in attendance, when Austin had his little segment, because I think Austin came out at the end of the New Day. Oh, what were they called? I almost called them Team International. What were the?
He did something with Byron Saxton, didn't he?
No. He did something with the New Day and the what was the group? It was Alberto and Sheamus and Cesaro and Wade Barrett, I think. What were they called? The League of Nations? Was that right? Or
I don't know. Yeah, I remember what
the international squad of villains.
I can't remember what it was, but it had a cool name to it. I can't remember.
Extraordinary League of Gentlemen. I don't remember what it was. But he came out at the end, and it was first Mankind, or Mick Foley came out, then Shawn came out, and then the glass broke, and Steve Austin walked out. And I had never been in a building before where the glass broke. That was my first and only time.
Yeah.
And even in 2016 at WrestleMania 32, the glass breaking, it hits different, right? When that glass breaks, it's a different feel than anything I've ever felt before. Rock was on the same show. Rock had a big reaction. It wasn't like that glass breaking. That glass breaking is insane.
I tell you, man, I always wanted that intro. It was so cool. Just to watch the actual glass breaking with Stone Cold. Not just the music, but when the glass broke and he came out. I was like, man, whoever thought of that? he need a raise.
100%.
I mean, I'm serious. That's what captivated me with wrestling, I think, so much back in the day. Is just say, for instance, Y2J, entrance the first time we saw it. Oh man, how awesome was that? I was like, man, that is so freaking cool right there. You know what I mean? The countdown, whatnot. Break the wall down. That little bull crap, you know what I mean? He made famous. Yeah, So I was like always captivated with the interests of the wrestlers back in the day. And I think, I don't know, maybe that's something. It's a little different now. It's a little bit different now. It's not the same. But everything's different now because of the internet.
Because of the internet. Well, speaking of the internet, they do give us some great
super chat.
Giannis with the 10 says, hey, Book, sorry to hear I also lost a dog a couple years back. Also had a cat go missing. They aren't just pets, they're family. I 100% agree with that. I want your take on 50-50 booking, Finn Balor's booking, I guess, in particular. Yeah, what do you think about when somebody wins one, lose one, wins one, lose one, wins one, lose one?
There again, man, I'm old school, and that might be my problem in a lot of ways, but I'm always thinking about, and just say, for instance, I'm talking about reality of wrestling. I'm talking about, wrestling in general, and the way I watched it when I was coming up, and I just think if I was just for instance, I'm gonna go back in time and I'm watching, Hacksaw Butch Reed, and I saw Butch Reed come out and pretty much work another one of my favorites, the Junkyard Dog. And I saw these guys work. One guy win, one guy win, one guy win, the other guy win. I think I would lose interest in that relatively quickly. When I saw Junkyard Dog and Butch Reed in the ring, it was for a reason. And those guys went out and gave me something. Now they may have been in an angle over the last, angles didn't go, as long on like local, companies back then, but because guys were working here and they were working there and they were working all over. But on television, the story was these guys was going to meet sooner or later. It was going to be at such and such a big show, and you could not wait to see that happen. But in the meantime, man, these guys were still on the show, and they were beating the hell out of the opponents that they were up against, and it made me want to see somebody beat that guy even more so. So that's the way I try to think about reality of wrestling when I have my talent, and that's just protect all of them. I was talking about Ricochet. Ricochet being another guy who has been in that thing where, he win one here, lose one here, win one there, and I just don't think that is appealing to, a lot of you fans that's watching it that really want to see, like myself. I didn't care. I use this analogy all the time. I didn't care if Jake the Snake was wrestling Joe Schmo. I didn't care. I just wanted to see that damn short arm DDT and that short arm clothesline and that DDT. Bang, 1, 2, 3. Bring the Snake out. You know what I mean? I didn't care about anything else. But when Jake finally had to wrestle somebody, oh man, then we had like the Humongous. When Jake had to wrestle the Humongous, Jake gonna be able to do it. Jake hit him with that DDT. Bang! Humongous set up like the Undertaker stands up. Boom! Jake hit him again. Bang! DDT. 1, 2. I remember that to this day. I never remember Jake ever wrestling the Humongous ever again.
Yeah, and you hit on something, and I think that the 50-50 booking is a symptom of not having something that we talked about a week or two ago, the enhancement talent. You don't have enhancement talent, then you have to, and you're just going against, top guy, or mid-card guy, or what have you. Then you're thinking, okay, well, I have to protect him because if I beat him too many times, he's worth less or she's worth less. So then I got to have him get his win back. But then now someone's got to win the story. So then you find yourself in this back and forth, win-loss, 50-50 stuff. And it's all from a symptom of not having enough enhancement talent on the weekly programs. Now, I'm not saying that you bring out, the Humongous or Joe Blow to wrestle Roman Reigns at the next pay-per-view. But for Roman to come out on SmackDown, have a 5-minute match, with Homeboy, beat him up or whatever, he's not having to go over on Xavier Woods, who was just crowned king. You know what I mean?
Or just say, for instance, just like Muhammad Ali, he used to go and fight the world champion in every part of the world, because every part of the world, they got their world champion.
Right.
Okay. May not be our world champion, but it's their world champion. And Muhammad Ali made himself famous going around the world whooping all those guys' asses. You know what I mean? The thing is, they were world champions, but they were nowhere near the caliber of fighter that Muhammad Ali was, or most fighters in the United States in general. But they were still world champions that I could say, hey, this guy is from such and such, and, from such and such, and now he's going against my guy tonight. That right there is a buildup in itself. We don't even have to use our guys to actually be those guys and still be able to create something, is what I'm saying. So I think to be able to take a step back in that aspect, to be able to really take a step forward, because one thing about the business and one thing about the shows, this thing is not finna change. This 52-week thing out of the year.
It's not a fad.
You was wondering why I was going there for a second. It ain't changing. So we
Right.
got to figure out how to, for me, I know we got to take a break. I always talk to my boys and my girls as far as every minute, I need you to stretch a minute and 45 out of it. Okay. Try to get 2 minutes out of it. So, and I think the same way about wrestling. We got to figure out how to keep this thing going for the next, how long am I going to be alive? Another 25, 30 years. That's how long. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Now, Sting.
Would you, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Would you ever compete in a cinematic match?
No,
No?
that's not, my realm of expertise. I don't think, Booker T's name requires being in that type of match. Those type of matches, that cinematic match, I think it works when you got a guy like Sting, when you got a guy like the Undertaker, when you got characters like that, or maybe even Bray Wyatt.
Right.
It may work with certain characters, but for just Booker T, the guy that grew up right there in South Park, Texas, no, that boy there, man, he's OG. He's bad to the bone. 258 pounds of romping, stomping, grave digging destruction. If he gonna get somebody, he gonna get him right there in the middle of the ring. I'm gonna be just like Jey Uso. Let me get him. Guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of You're worth it. Can you dig it, sucker? Boom! Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. I know we got a lot to talk about, man, but I do not want to, miss out on my guys just sending in questions. So, Brad, you got anything for me?
We got another one. Here. This is from
Super Chat.
Alex Cosentino. Alex says, Book, I'm curious. JR often talks about the importance of paying your quarterly taxes and saving your money. Who taught you about the finances when you started making the big money on the road?
Man, I'm gonna tell you right now, nobody had to tell me that I had to take care of my money. I grew up pretty much having to teach myself a lot of things. And managing money was not something that I had experience doing before I got in the wrestling business or anything like that, because I had no money. Okay. But I do know that every job that I had before I was a professional wrestler, I had to pay taxes. I knew that. And I also knew the one person I did not want to get in trouble with was Uncle Sam. So the first thing I got, was, someone to work with me, an accountant, as far as to work with me on making sure these taxes get paid, because a lot of guys, back in the day, they would get that check and in the mail, and just say, for instance, you get a check in the mail on a weekly basis for 10 grand for a year, and you just take that check and go and spend it. You don't pay no taxes on it or anything like that, even though, you may know you have to pay taxes on it, but sometimes your eyes get big. You go, man, I'm gonna skip out on it this time, and then next thing you know, you realize it's 5 years of skipping out. And one thing about Uncle Sam, they gonna let you skip out. They're gonna keep letting you skip out as long as you possibly want to do it, because the longer you do it, the better it is for them. So I just made sure I never put myself in that situation. I always paid my taxes quarterly. I didn't have to get it from JR or anybody else. I knew all that money that I was getting, it wasn't mine, but I had to figure out how to keep as much as I possibly could. So I had to incorporate myself. I had to, buy property. I had to start doing things, and I had to have someone working with me on that kind of stuff in order to make that happen. So don't get out there thinking that just because you're getting a big check in the mail, it all belongs to you. You may think it does, but trust me, Uncle Sam know about it. It's like, and at the end of the day, they're gonna be about it. I come and collect on it.
Yeah, do not screw around with your taxes. I think that, when I started making a little bit of money, I think I asked you, Book, I'm like, hey, do I need to do X, X, and X? And you're like, do it now, right? And there were certain things that I took a peep game from you on. But I've always heard, whether it be in wrestling or anywhere, it's not what you earn, it's what you save. And especially when it comes tax time, because I do my thing on TurboTax. I don't know if I think you've done TurboTax, right? I think, or something.
Yeah.
In the corner the whole time, it's either going to say what you owe or what your refund is. And every time I click something in, like, I almost don't even want to look at what's in the corner. You know what I mean? Like, oh, what do I owe this time? Oh, okay, that's not that bad. That's not that bad.
Yeah, man.
Then I got to put in those Obamacare numbers, and it always kills me because I ended up making more money than what I thought I was going to make. So then I got to owe all this money for healthcare, but it's worth it.
But I'm gonna tell you, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how many guys lose everything over not paying taxes.
Wesley, right? I always go back to Wesley Snipes when I think about taxes. I remember hearing Wesley Snipes on the Howard Stern show, and he said this years ago, before he got in trouble, that he thought that there was some constitutional amendment where he didn't have to pay taxes. Like, it's in the Constitution that I don't have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
What do you think Uncle Sam told his ass?
Well, I'm tell you,
do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go straight to jail.
He must have forgotten who wrote the Constitution. They would know if it was in there. Okay.
And tell me one contract anybody's ever written that says, I'm going to put a clause in here where you don't have to pay me.
Yeah, I'm like, that doesn't work out. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. These fools out there, man, not paying taxes, man. They better get serious, because I've had I've just say, for instance, I've dealt with people that was going through tax problems, and just say, for instance, let me give you guys on some game real quick. You could have a partner, and they owe Uncle Sam some money, and you guys open a bank account, and you put $10,000 in the bank account. If they owe taxes, Uncle Sam will close that account down and take that $10,000 of your money. There's nothing you can do about it. So make sure you know who you're dealing with when you're going into business as well.
Yeah, like when you go buy a used car, you have to ask for the Carfax, right? See who owned it and what problems the car has. Make sure you do that with a potential investor. We have another one here though, Book.
Super chat.
Another one from Giannis, elaborating on his earlier chat. He said, to elaborate on Finn, took on Roman not too long ago. There was a dodgy finish with no explanation. Not only that, but ever since he has been on a losing streak, 50-50 booking was more general, not necessarily just for Finn. But yeah, I mean, both happen, right? I mean, the 50-50 booking, it is what it is. I think we kind of.
It happens for Roman. It happens for everybody. I'm not just talking about those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, that the 50-50 booking is something that's just a thing that they do now. It's not a rarity. And my thing is this: Finn Balor, if I'm not mistaken, this guy was the first Universal Champion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm talking about. I think when we look at Finn Balor now, we don't think about him being the first Universal Champion. Mm-hmm. I don't think we think about him like that. And that's why I don't think, the 50-50 booking for me, it just doesn't work from the perspective to where someone like Finn Balor, we got to keep him at a certain, point in order for the fans to buy into him on a weekly basis. All right. As well as buy his merch, just buy into the Demon character, buy into everything that we're trying to do with Finn Balor, from my perspective. So as well as a Seth Rollins, all Roman Reigns, all of these guys, to keep these guys to where they are, like superstars, to where you look at them like, man, that's the ultimate level right there, as far as, being in the business. And I think that's what it was back in the day. I can honestly say in WCW, I was very, very well protected. Okay. I was very, very well protected as far as, getting guys that were going to go out there and enhance, me. And then when I did get a chance to go against the upper echelon talent, I looked like I belonged, opposed to, barely getting by this guy and barely getting by that guy. And then I go
Right.
against, a Bret Hart. How the hell am I going to get by Bret Hart if I can barely get past these guys? So for me, I don't know. It just comes a point where I got to think about my talent and how I'm going to keep these guys at a certain level when people are watching them. When they come out that curtain, the feeling that they get, the adrenaline that goes through their body when they hear that music, and to be able to do that, I can't think about, there's something I want to talk about on the show here today. That's something I really want to talk about. Okay. And let's just get into it right here, coming off that question. The one thing I hear today, and I'm hearing it a lot now. I was looking at, I'm listening to Johnny Gargano and guys like Kyle O'Reilly and a lot of guys. Daniel Bryan. Let me throw Daniel Bryan's name in there too. But I think Daniel Bryan's doing it for a different reason than most, because Daniel Bryan is a guy that's established. He's a guy that's got a big bank account, and he ain't got to worry about a whole lot other than how his legacy turns out. But when I hear these guys leave a company and say, "Man, I cannot wait to go and have a match with such and such. Man, I can't wait to have a match with this guy. Oh man, the match with him and I can have will be a 5-star match." When these guys start thinking about the matches more than taking care of their damn family and how much money they can make at the end of the day when they walk away from this wrestling thing, because it's not going to last forever. It's not going to last forever. It baffles the hell out of me when it becomes about a damn match. Okay. I loved every match I was in, every performance that I gave. I loved it, but none of it surpassed me taking care of my family. Okay. And when I hear that kind of talk, man, I go, man, this business has really, really changed to the point to where I don't know. It's making me question things and people, why are they really doing this at the end of the day? Because for me, there again, I love being in the big matches with all of the great stars. But I'm going to tell you right now, I think I remember more of, how much money did I get paid for that match, opposed to, man, how many spots did we do in that match? Oh man, was it a 5-star match? I don't care. Excuse me. I do care. But at the end of the day, I'm thinking about, man, if I could go out and perform this way with this guy, I could get paid this much if I could go and work with that guy. Not how many matches I can have. I'm just confused. We got to take a break. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
This is Booker T World Gym Arena in Texas City, the home to the Reality of Wrestling Training Center. It's a 20,000 square foot facility with more than 50 full-time students and wrestlers from around the world. Inside the World Gym Arena sits a 9,000 square foot venue set up for weekly shows. From on top, 1-2 moonsault, where our students showcase their skills in front of a live audience.
What he's done here is awesome. He's created opportunity, and he's creating great talent, as you guys well know.
In the back, a full weight room.
6 up!
Complete with state-of-the-art equipment and personal trainers.
There you go. Two more.
A full staff and office personnel.
One more.
Running the day-to-day operation. We have interview sets for TV production, promo classes, quarterly combines. We evaluate progression and team building. Referees, commentators, ring announcers, and live television production. At the World Gym Arena, we don't just teach you how to become a professional wrestler, but an elite sports entertainer. This is Reality of Wrestling.
Shoop! Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame. And I left a little hot there. And the reason why I'm hot, though, man, I am hot.
I know you are. You seem hot. You seem like you want to get this off your chest.
Well, the reason why I'm hot, man, because it takes the realism out of, what we do. When you're just talking about going have a match with somebody. I mean, I can only imagine if I heard one of these UFC fighters say, man, it's going to be great to share the cage with this guy. Oh, man, I can't wait to, have a great match with this guy. It's going to be great to go and grapple to see if he's a better grappler than I am. Yeah, I can't even imagine if I watched a boxing match and two guys go, man, you're just going to be just two pugilists in the ring, and we're going to go out and test our wits and see who's the better man. I cannot imagine me wanting to go and pay to see somebody talking about. And I watched this coming up as a kid. I've never seen anything like that as far as guys talking about going and have a match with some damn body. Those are words that should never be used in a freaking the business as far as I'm concerned. I can't wait to have a match with somebody. It's just ridiculous.
I remember it was a few years ago. We went down to Toyota Center to get some interviews with some of the guys, and one of them was AJ Styles. And we were sitting talking to AJ Styles, and at the time, there was a lot of rumors about AJ and Shawn, right? That was going into the Royal Rumble in San Antonio. People thought that was a possibility. So I remember asking AJ, who is your dream match? Would you love to have a match with Shawn Michaels? And his response to that was, that's not a question for me. That's a question for the fan, right? It's not up to me to say what my dream match is. It's what they want to see. What is their dream match? That's something that they speak on, not that I speak on. Now, I'm paraphrasing, but I think that he's echoing the same sentiment that you're saying right now. As AJ's like, I'm a wrestler who's ever in front of me. I'm not thinking about my dream opponents, my dream matches. I'm thinking about, what my work.
I've never thought about, going and have a match with somebody, Benoit and I, we had, great matches. But I never went into that thing saying, hey, man, let's go out and have a great match tonight. I've never thought like that once in my life. Right. We're going to go out here and we're going to work. We're going to go out here and we're going to work tonight. We're going to get a crowd, everything that they paid their money to see. Okay. But for me to talk about I'm going out, it's almost like I'm going out to play wrestling when I hear guys talk like that. Okay. And
what does that mean? Because so I hear you said that on the show a lot, and I've heard you say it before, like guys out there playing wrestler. What does that mean exactly?
Well, what I mean is for me, wrestling was, okay, it was guys going out and telling stories. Okay. But not one time have I ever gone out in the ring where I was thinking about, doing what I see on the video game. That's what I mean. I was going out there thinking about how I can make the fans feel a certain way when they watch this contest between two guys knowing what professional wrestling is, okay? When fans go and watch a movie, they need to feel a certain way when they walk out of that theater in order to feel like they got their money's worth, all right? Mm-hmm. When you go see this new Matrix movie, you're going to know if you liked it. Soon as you get halfway in, you're gonna be like, oh man, if it's good. And then at the end, if it gives you what you want, you're gonna go, man, I gotta watch it again. You know what I mean?
That's how it was this weekend with Spider-Man.
Exactly 100%. My point. Exactly my point. So when I think about guys going out and just having a match, that means we're going to go out. The fans know we're just going out to have a match. Okay, now we're not suspending their imagination anymore. Now they just know their part. They're gonna don't worry about them. They're going to do what they're supposed to. They're going to say, this is awesome when it's time to. They're going to do all of that stuff. Not that they're not going to do it. But the feel of that is going to be totally different than if I thought about, how, how can we really take these fans on a ride to where they can really get some emotion out of it. I don't just need the "This is awesome" chant. Let's see if we can make somebody cry tonight. All right, because in every movie, it might get to a point to where you might want to cry a little bit. Now, you ain't just going crazy. You're not just saying "This is awesome." Okay, let's get a little bit more out of our performances, and let's see if we can get a little bit more. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is you take people somewhere from a emotional connection perspective to want to make them do that, to make them as mad as we possibly can, opposed to them just saying, "This is awesome. I need you to be pissed at this heel so you can boo the hell out of him, because that's what he's supposed to be making you do from a field perspective, opposed to just say, "This is awesome. This is awesome." Now, I could be wrong. Okay. I could be wrong, but I just don't think I'm wrong as far as this goes. And I just think, guys in the business sometimes don't challenge themselves enough, especially when I hear talk like that. It let me know as far as whether you're challenging yourself or not. When I hear, it would be great to have a match. Man, it would be great to go over there and have a match. To me, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to me it's become for me, like, I don't think of it that way all the time, but coming from you, and when you're laying out your manifesto there, for lack of a better term, I do get it. I do get it, though. I get it, because at the end of the day, like okay, when Taker would go out for WrestleMania, right? And we knew he was undefeated. As a fan, you're emotionally invested in the Undertaker winning that match. So you know that it's a show. You know that the winners and losers are predetermined. But Undertaker would have you thinking every single WrestleMania, okay, is he going to get it done tonight? Is he going to get it done tonight? And we didn't care who he was going to go out there and wrestle. We just wanted to see if the Undertaker was going to win, because we were emotionally invested. We were so in. And that's why you saw whenever Taker lost to Brock and Mania 30, people in the front row with their eyes out, people crying. There were people crying that the Undertaker lost because they had that connection. Brock didn't say leading up to that, "Man, I can't wait to share the ring with Taker at Mania," right? Taker never said, "Dream opponent, Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania." We just knew that, so we were so emotionally invested, those two guys were going to go out there and they were going to get us on the hook. And boy, were we. I do think that there's a sense, and this is what Giannis just said, real Giannis with another
super chat.
He said, "Book, they've killed kayfabe. We need to bring it back." Now, I think that kayfabe is an interesting term, but you can make people believe. Like, you know what? Going back to CM Punk and Eddie Kingston, right? When they were in there doing their promo, and then going into the match, they made me believe that there was a real issue between these two guys.
Yeah.
Right. I felt it. Like, I felt that. I felt whatever they had going on. I felt it. Right. Things going on with Edge and Miz right now on TV. I actually kind of feel their back and forth. It doesn't feel forced to me. I'm emotionally invested. So by the time I get to the match, boy, I'm going to be on the edge of my seat seeing who's going to win and who's going to lose. So there's definitely something to that. I think that now it goes back to the guy can be Bray Wyatt on Tuesday and then be the chef on Twitch on Thursday. I think there's a little bit of that, to where the curtain's so far pulled back, the guys speak in a way that they didn't back in your day.
You know what?
I'm not saying it's right or wrong, though.
Is that the curtain has been pulled back for a long time. Way before the internet really blew up. The curtain has been pulled back. But I just think the guys, and my thing is this: I don't want to try to tell these young guys what to do or anything like that. Okay, and that because that right there is automatically a hot take, and that's not what I'm.
Oh, this is all getting picked up, by the way, and they're gonna run some clickbaity headline. I'm calling it right now. I'm gonna be calling you tomorrow, being like, "Hey, Book, guess who's trending?"
Well, I don't care. But my thing is this: I just think it's going to benefit the young talent to go out and really, just say for instance, Nick Gage. I don't know a whole lot about him, but I don't see him posting a whole lot. And every match that this guy has had, it's had a real feel to it. Now, okay, now my point is this: it's had a real feel to it. It makes you feel like this guy's really. Even the match that he had with Chris Jericho, it had a real feel to it. Now we got this Hannibal incident that just went down a few days ago. Guy that does going out here pretty much doing the same thing, death match, blood match, whatnot. But you got one guy who know how to do it, who's not on the internet, who you believe in Nick Gage when you hear he's coming to town. But you got a guy like Hannibal, who's a YouTuber, wanting to play wrestling, is what I'm talking about. If that don't answer my point right there, nothing will. If that right there does not answer my point.
Yeah. I think that again, going into the realism or the what would you say, suspension of disbelief in wrestling, there's definitely ways to do it, and there are ways to make people still feel real. Like again, I keep going back to him, but how legitimate did Brock Lesnar has he seemed his whole run? He's not posting, he's not cooking on YouTube, he's not coming out with his own line of beef jerky. He's going out there and he's just being Brock Lesnar. And when he says he didn't like people, I kind of believe that he doesn't like people. He might be the nicest guy in the world. I don't know. I don't know enough about him. I just know what I see on television, right? And that's why he's a big box office attraction. I
saw him cut up a hog on YouTube, literally, piece by. I mean, from the beginning to the end. And that dude made me go, you don't want to mess with a dude like that. That kind of post I could take all day long because it fits. Guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. I'm Booker T, six-time world champ, along with my man Brad Gilmore. And we just doing it, man, just talking. I know we got wrestling heavy. I didn't plan on going wrestling heavy today.
Right.
Sometimes it just happens to go that way. But we got anything.
We have one more super chat.
Super chat.
Callie Toenail, what up, Callie? I saw Callie Toenail was like the I think he was like the head elf or something in a Christmas parade. I saw that on Twitter the other day, and he was doing his King Booker accent.
King of the world.
King of the world. Christmas Chaos was exactly that. Part one was fire. Was the table pre-split? Hyun did disintegrate in it very slow motion. It looked like Braxton laid her down. I didn't think it was going to break. Look, man, that table did it popped out. Big shout out to Promise Braxton for getting the job done. The first ever women's.
We got some special effects guys down here too, man. We're wrestling. We got to take care of our girls, man. You know what? We're a small company, but we work hard for our talent.
Kayfabe, brother. Kayfabe, brother. That table was iron and steel. You know.
No, but I'm tell you right now. Tell me about what you think about the match. Did the ladies go out and take it to another level? Promise Braxton, Hyun definitely went out there and rose to the occasion. And I'm gonna tell you right now, you're not gonna see a better match anywhere in the world as far as the ladies go. You know what? Let me rephrase that. I'm not gonna go that far, but I'm gonna tell you, the ladies, they went out and they did their job to the highest degree, and I'm proud of them. Promise is definitely someone that's you guys gonna be hearing about very, very soon. And Hyan is someone who is so freaking awesome. Right now, she's in high demand all over the world, making tours to Japan. And I must say, she's one of my diamonds who has shined so bright. And I gave her so much flack in the beginning. I pushed her like I don't think I could push anybody else. And at one point she pushed back. And I think that was the turning point for Hyan to take off like a rocket. So I just want to say big ups to my girl. She's going to definitely make it to that next level.
Yeah, big shout out to Hyan. I'm such a huge Promise Braxton fan. And shout out to Roxy, Ring of Honor World Women's Champion. I saw WWE put something out on social media, and so did Roxy, that she had a tryout. WWE put up pictures, and so did Roxy. And she said in her post, which was cool, that I think they were on a road trip at some point, and they drove out of the way a couple hours just so Roxy could take a picture in front of the Performance Center, right? When she was younger than she is now. She's already, 19, 20. When she was like 14, 15, I guess. She wanted just a picture in front of the Performance Center. And now she finds herself a couple years later having a tryout with the WWE as the first ever Ring of Honor World Women's Champion. It's awesome. It's an awesome story.
Oh, man.
Hopefully she gets it.
No, she's gonna make it. She's got the tools, and the thing is, whether she make it in WWE, she's gonna make it in the business, and that's what it's really all about. People think WWE is really the the last and only stop, but I tell you, for her at this young age to get a shot at a tryout with WWE, if they pick her up, it's going to be great. But for her to be able to travel around the world and see it and actually get paid to actually do it, that right there, I'm going to tell you, the experience is worth its weight in gold. And I say that because I did it. I saw it, and it was an amazing experience that I could not have paid for, and I would not take back for anything. And that was before I ever got to WCW or anything like that.
Oh man, it's awesome. It's awesome. Shout out to all of our diamonds. Did you want to talk more about Hannibal, or did you say what you wanted to say about him?
I mean, like I said, I don't know Hannibal or anything like that, but I do know this. I do know he's a guy that interviews guys. I did a small interview with him. I think Cauliflower Alley, one of those Hall of Fames. We were going to something I was doing, and he got a couple of seconds with me. I think he asked me about 2 or 3 questions. I've never done one of those shoot interviews or anything like that with him. I think that was the only time I ever had a chance to. But I watched some of his videos, some of the stuff that he's done. And my thing is, okay, you're a video guy, you're a YouTube guy, you got your show, and you're a professional wrestler, a guy who tried to make it to the big league, but didn't make it. But now he's doing a lot of things as far as from an independent standpoint, calling himself the Blood Hunter. I've never seen any of his matches. Okay, let's just say that.
So was he a trained worker?
Well, I heard he had a tryout or something like that back in the day with WWE or something like that. But he came down with
as a wrestler or a cameraman?
No, as a wrestler.
Okay.
But he came down with Hep C, and that's why that didn't go through and whatnot, fell through for him. And then, boom, he started doing the YouTube show, I guess, and working on the independents and, calling himself the Blood Hunter. But, after getting Hep C and calling and having a gimmick, the Blood Hunter, that's the craziest thing right there.
Well, hopefully, I didn't know that about him, but hopefully it's cured. They do have a cure for that now. So
yeah,
hopefully he did that.
Still, I saw the video of, what happened, allegedly. allegedly a guy, referee, Weekend Warrior, was refereeing and was supposed to get juice at the end of the match because that's what the Blood Hunter does. He didn't get it good enough to where the Blood Hunter was satisfied. So the Blood Hunter actually had a spike and spiked him. And the thing is, I don't know if it might have been one of these things. Just think about this. Let's think about this for a second. We're still talking about the New Jack incident this many years later, 20 years later, 20 years plus, and how horrific that was and whatnot. And that's something that people are going to be talking about forever. I don't know if this was one of those moments to where you actually do something like that to another person because people are going to be talking about it for a long time, right? Am I right or wrong on that?
Yeah,
and that's what I'm talking about as far as what this thing. That's what this world has come to where people, they don't care a lot of times what they're famous for. They just want to be known because of the social media thing, the show on YouTube, and the followers, that kind of stuff, and it becomes addictive. And if that is the case, which I don't know if it is. If that is the case, it's sad as hell. For some, the thing is, I don't know what's going to happen with this, but I'm almost guaranteed some charges going to get filed. Somebody's going to get sued and all that stuff, and you're going to be going through court some way, shape. That's going to happen. And I was talking on the Ghetto Boys show. I said, you put yourself in a situation for something to happen. Boom, it can happen. Mm-hmm. Now, he screwed up somebody else's life, and he perhaps may have screwed up his own life as well. We'll see in the end. But that's what I'm talking about. Playing wrestler, living out some stupid fantasy blood hunter, and actually having to see the real blood to actually get that feeling because it's a game now. Forget about this guy's family and his well-being or anything like that. But it just baffles the crap out of me when I see stuff like this.
It's ridiculous. It's despicable. I know we have, I don't know if we have we have a no blood policy, right? In reality wrestling, we kind of have a strict one, a strict no blood policy. I don't think it's ever happened sin't I've been there, and that's only been a decade.
It's happened, but when it happens, bro, shut it down. Let's get us out of there because we don't
accident.
We don't want to be a liability.
Right. To me, when I hear stuff like this happening, it raises the question of licensure in professional wrestling. Like, if you're a promoter and you allow stuff like that to go on, I think that's the only time where there needs to be some sort of government oversight. Because what happens if this guy died? Like, what happens? Why are you laughing?
Oh my God. No, I'm laughing because it's so old. It's so old and outdated, man.
It's so stupid.
It's so old and outdated. It's not funny, the blood and gore, because I don't know what it is.
Look. I will say this. I've never been a big fan of blood in wrestling. I know that it's a part of the industry. I know it's a part of the business. Sometimes in Flair matches and Shawn Michaels matches, would it add a level of drama? Sure. Would it? Yes. Do I need that to happen in order for me to enjoy the match at the same level? No. I think that when things like this happen, look, you've seen it forever on the independents. I've seen it. Even when guys come for their first time in reality wrestling, sometimes they want to live out their WrestleMania dreams.
Yeah, I see.
And this is what Hannibal apparently was trying to do. He's like, I'm the blood hunter. This is my WrestleMania moment. I'm gonna stab the referee. I'm gonna stab him. Where are we living? Like, where are we living? I think that that's terrible. And the only reason I bring up like licensure is like whoever promoted that event and allowed that to go on is just as liable. As liable as Hannibal. And they should never be allowed to promote an event again. Hannibal should never be booked again.
Hey, man, Tiger Conway Jr., God rest his soul, guy who I respected back in the day a whole lot. We used to go do these high school shows, and they used to be all bought shows. And I remember one time we went into this one high school. It was in Bel Air, Texas, not far from here. And, man, Tiger Conway knew. They told us not to do no blood, no juice, or nothing. We don't want to see that. Tiger Conway juiced himself so freaking bad. I'm like, you thought somebody hit him with a hatchet, and blood was just going everywhere. And he was grabbing kids and he all over them. Man, do you know we never did another high school wrestling show? They kicked us out of the school district. I was not even able to go into my old junior high school and do a show. 15 years later, because of Tiger come with you. Stick around. You in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
And that's a stunning elbow to the face. Oh, and look at this. She just raking Angela's face across the middle. Oh, my goodness. That's hard to watch. Oh, man, what does she think? Oh, no. Top rope suplex. Superplex from the champion. If enough damage hasn't been done already to Angela, that has got to be the exclamation point. She's looking for the 450. Oh! From the top rope. She's calling for shooting star press. Star press. Shooting star press cover. 1, 2, 3. Sucker.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Speaking of wrestling.
Yeah.
Speaking of wrestling, we are gearing up, guys, for the first ever Sherry Martel Classic. It's going to be culminating at, around WrestleMania weekend. Someone will be crowned the first classic winner. So, guys, go to realityofwrestling.com. Keep your ears open for that. I'm really looking forward to highlighting someone who I admired for so many years, respected for so many years, and then got a chance to work with side by side for so many years as well. And that's Sherry Martel. So, guys, we're going to give Sherry props the proper way, and I want you guys to be a part of it. Make sure you guys tune in when you hear about it.
Man, that's so awesome. I'm so excited for that. Sherry Martel. After we had that conversation the other day, I actually went and watched some of her matches too. Sherry Martel, as great as a manager she was, she could work too. Like, she was great. I never really got a chance to sit and watch because, again, she was a little bit before my time of watching. So some of those matches, they kind of get lost on you. But Sherry Martel, super dope.
Nah, man, she was a real worker. I mean, hardcore as they come.
Yeah.
She did not mind getting into a fight. And that's what I loved about Sherry. And she fit in perfectly with my brother and I, Harlem Heat, with Sister Sherry. Man, what a team, man. What a team. And I tell you, just like when I was King Booker, I couldn't have did it without Charmel. I do not think the Harlem Heat would have been as successful and as over as we were without Sherry Martel. She definitely was the exclamation point and our legitimizer for Harlem Heat back in the day. So, guys, be on the lookout. It's going to be good.
Hey, we do have another super chat real quick that we want to get to, and it has to do with one of the topics we were going to talk about. Cali Toenail coming in with, again, my God, that KO, at least that check was fat. And let's not forget, Paul pulled a flare and gave Woodley a Rolex so he'd know exactly what time it was. We're going to talk about Woodley and Jake Paul here in a second. But Kevin Owens did re-sign with the company after a lot of speculation that he might go ahead and become a free agent, jump over to AEW. He and Sami Zayn both have contracts expiring around the same time, or at least they did. And they always love to play with the internet. Like, I remember when they got fired from WWE a couple years ago, when they were doing the program with Shane and Daniel Bryan, They changed their Twitter names to their real names. They opened pro wrestling tea stores, and they did all the stuff they could to really make people think that they were gone. And Kevin Owens did the same thing again. He was talking about Mount Rushmore, which was the name of a group he had in Ring of Honor, which involved Adam Cole and the Young Bucks, I believe, or people who were in the clique, if you will. He was really making it seem, he would even say on promos, wherever I end up after January and things like that nature. But he ends up re-signing with WWE for a reportedly $2 to $3 million 3-year deal. That's what's being reported. Whether that's accurate or not, I have no idea, but that's at least the report. Do you like that Kevin Owens re-signed with, as you've called it, your team? Because KO, to me, as an all-around performer, great wrestler, believable, promo off the charts, charisma off the charts. He's got the boxes checked.
Yeah.
I think that he can flourish in WWE, former Universal Champion. I think that he could be a main event star at any time. He's kind of one of those guys who you keep in the rotation. That's like, okay, it's time to plug in Kevin Owens, which he's right now going to be in a fatal 4-way match for the title. So you think it was a good move for him?
Well, I don't think we're going to be hearing Kevin Owens anytime soon talk about it would be great to go and have a match with somebody. Okay, because I think he's past that. And seriously, Kevin Owens, he's smart. He knows what the end game is. And that's to be able to walk away from this business one day. And hopefully have something in the bank at the same time. So you ain't got to be, as well as being able to parlay this into whatever's next. Because that's one thing that these young guys need to understand, that I don't give a damn how many matches that they have. It's going to come to a time where they're not going to be, having matches with anybody. And, they can say, oh, well, Book, you're old and you're just not relevant anymore. Well, damn it, I don't want to have any matches with anybody. Okay, first and foremost, I got a wrestling school, I got a wrestling promotion, I got a radio show, we got a podcast. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm trying to just keep doing my thing more than anything, and that's what life is truly all about. You're gonna find yourself at one point in time in your life, and it's not gonna just be all about your wrestling matches and how many matches you can have with somebody. So I'm just trying to wise these young guys up more than anything to say, hey man, it's just like for me. People always say, man, you look like you're still in pretty good shape. You look like you can still go. And I always say, man, when I was working, I had a way when I went out and work house shows. I had another way to go out and work, Monday night. I had another way to go out and work on overseas tours. Then I had another way to work on pay-per-view. So I wasn't just going out and thinking about the match. Okay, I'm serious. I was thinking about, okay, what town are we in? Okay, dude, 2-bump match tonight. All right. Okay, we can't not go out and kill ourselves. We got to entertain, but we can't go out because we got TV coming up here in 3 days. All right, so we got to make sure because we knew our best performance had to be on that TV night. At least I did. So I was thinking about that TV night and getting there and making sure that that's my best performance of the week, because I'm going to go home after TV and get a couple of days to regroup. So it was a thought process. It wasn't just thinking about going out there and having the match.
Right. So I think Kevin Owens again made the right decision. I like that he's in WWE. I think he would have been one of the guys to where if they lost him, that's a blow. That's a blow. That's somebody who's a utility player.
Let me tell you something, man. You remember we was talking about Johnny Gargano? You said,
right?
Johnny Gargano. What do you think? What do you think about Johnny Gargano if he leaves? What did I say?
Remind me.
I said Carmelo Hayes is going to take his spot.
Oh, right, yeah.
They're going to keep on rolling. Okay, the wrestling business has always been like that. Guys, they can leave and they can go other places, but there's always going to be guys that's going to be able to fill those spots. It really is. In today's professional wrestling, with guys, the way they go out and do it now is, there again, it's about the wrestling. It's not about the persona. It's not about, the guy that's coming in and you you look at that guy and you go, oh man, this guy's, bigger than life. It's about the guys just going out there and wrestling. That's what the business has come to now, right? Right or wrong, having a match.
You're 100%. Yeah.
Okay, so now it's an abundance of guys that go out and wrestle. That's what they do. Okay, some are better than others, but to have a character come along that outshines all of that, I think that's the guy that we're going to be looking for at the end of the day. That's going to shine.
Yeah, you're not. I'm not in disagreement with you at all. So we'll see what they have planned for Kevin Owens after day one. That's an interesting pay-per-view coming up for WWE in January. 2 pay-per-views, both happening down. So apparently I missed a super chat from Donald who said, Brad, did you watch the clip? I think he's talking about the clip of Hannibal, which I did not watch. I haven't seen it myself. I don't think I want to see it. To be honest,
it's not something it's grainy. It's not like you can see it, but you know exactly what's happening. You can see the referee reacting to every time he got hit, and then he choked him out, real naked choke.
Wait a minute. He stabs him and then chokes him out?
Yes.
Oh, good God in heaven.
Stabs him like 5 times. When they had to cut the guy's hair, staple him up and everything. Yeah, it's stupid, man. This is what I'm talking about. You thought I was just playing here?
That's wrestling.
Serious. It's stupid. It's the craziest thing I ever seen in my life, but that's somebody wanting to live out some stupid fantasy. If it's anything more than that, okay, I could be wrong.
Gosh.
I could be wrong, but it can't be, it can't be far from that. Somebody wanting to live out, just say, for instance, and I could be like Blade. You know what I'm saying? I could be one of the bloodsuckers. Stupid. It just don't make any sense. If somebody came to me with an idea like that, and and I was wrestling, and the thing is, he was wrestling Carlito.
Oh my God.
Carlito was gone well before any of this happened, because he's like, man, Carlito said, man, I'm not doing that. I'm not being a part of that. You can do whatever you want to do, but it's just amazing. People, okay, the guy that I'm working with, I can't juice him, but I'll juice the referee. I got to juice somebody. You know what I mean? Somebody's got to bleed, and that's what I mean. That's what I mean by playing wrestler. That's what you was talking about as far as, that promotion, who sanctioned that. Why would a promoter even, even entertain a thought like that? If someone came in the reality of wrestling and said, hey man, I want to do this tonight and I want to juice the referee. And the first thing I tell them is, bro, we don't do that here. We don't do that here. But if the referee said, okay, well, we could juice them, and the thing is, that's why you got to be careful. I don't know if the promoter said, yeah, we could juice them. And sometimes that right there is the okay. For some people, they may hear that and say, man, they want you to juice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the blood hunter, in his head, it could be totally different than what the promoter was actually thinking. So when you say, that right there, it's kind of up in the air when you're doing this stuff, man. But if
somebody came to reality wrestling and said, I want to juice the referee, you wouldn't say we don't do that here. Your line would be, get your stuff and get the hell out.
Well, I didn't want to say it like that. I wouldn't say get the hell out either.
No, you wouldn't. I put it very nicely.
Seriously, but that's the thing. I talk to a lot of my students, and I tell them, they go and work these shows, and I say, how'd the promoter tell you did? After the show, he said, oh, he said I did great. And I say, all of them tell you do great, right? Yeah, they normally say that. And that's the problem. A lot of times these promoters at these shows, they don't know what's good or bad. Can't give you any information as far as, what it's going to take for you to get to the next level, because they don't even know. A lot of times they shouldn't even be promoting shows. So I can't even say, that I got to put that on Hannibal. It's hard for me to put that on the promoter because I know not to go into the ring with a spike and spike the referee and then choke him out with a real naked choke. I know that. Guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
And your question for the win. In The Insider, Al Pacino's character works on which TV show?
Is it 60 Minutes?
And your winner!
The Movie Trivia Schmodown, the most competitive movie trivia league in the world.
It's MMA or boxing. It's like you want to see the two best scrapping it out.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
2 points. Movie release date.
Wow.
Danny DeVito.
That's correct. You mother! Rising sun! And your winner!
Championships, factions, the best in the world play here.
I'm ready to schmo down. Throw down with the schmo down.
Kevin Goodenough Smith!
This is why we play the Schmodown.
The professional sports league of movie trivia. This isn't bar trivia. This is the Movie Trivia Schmodown.
Shucky ducky quack quack, y'all. We're back in the Hall of Fame. Man, the show went by quick.
I know.
Yeah, the show's going by really, really quick.
We
today.
still have more super chats to get to. We haven't even talked about the Jake Paul fight.
Come on, man. Let's get to him real quick, man.
Okay, real quick.
Super chat.
Roland Curtis. This is the first time that I'm hearing about the Hannibal incident. I've seen a ton of videos on it. Hannibal had a promising wrestling career. He wrestled Kevin Nash and a host of other known wrestlers who are well past their primes. Okay, well, yeah. So apparently he was a worker. Roland, I think, follows that up and says he caught Hep C from Abdullah the Butcher. WWE released them. Hannibal is still very, very bitter. Hannibal hates that kayfabe is dead. He hates wrestlers that say they want to tell stories. Okay, well, you know. I don't think anybody should ever book Hannibal.
Let me tell you something. With a wrestling character like the Blood Hunter, that can't be about wrestling. He said he don't like wrestlers that tell stories.
That tell stories. Yeah.
Well, what could you do as a character called the Blood Hunter? It can't be about your wrestling.
Yeah, I don't know.
Am I right or wrong?
I think you're right there. I mean, it's got to be a story. If there's a character, there's a story. Right?
Yeah.
All right, anyway.
No.
I wish him well, I guess. I don't know. Cali Toenail.
Moving on.
The Blood Hunter. This guy's a moron. Cali Toenail, $2 says, how about Paul Heyman? How good is he? Let's go. Yeah, Paul Heyman had a breakup, it looked like, with Roman Reigns on Friday's SmackDown. But Paul has always been great. He's just been phenomenal, I think, his whole career.
He's a genius. He really is. I've said that several times about Paul Heyman as far as what he did with ECW, the talent pool that he had there and what he created from that talent pool was unbelievable. The way he edited that show and produced it was unbelievable. What he made you believe. Everything you believe when you watch that show. It was all Paul Heyman's genius. And and what he's doing as of late. Just go back to Paul Heyman when he was a young guy and had hair. Okay, just go back to that guy, and he was still doing pretty much the same thing what he's doing right now. To this guy today in 2021, heading into 2022, he's a master, and he's masterful at his work. And honestly, there's nobody better at what Paul Heyman does. No one.
And I always loved how he never called himself a manager. Right, he was the CEO of the Dangerous Alliance, right? And then he was the agent for Brock Lesnar before he was the advocate for Brock Lesnar, before he was then the special counsel for Roman Reigns, right? He's never been a manager. And I'm sure if you ask Paul Heyman, what are the differences between an advocate and a special counsel? He would have a textbook definition ready for what he does differently for Roman than he did for Brock, than he did for Punk, than he did for whomever, right?
You know, that's great too. That's great. I remember talking to Gary Hart. And, he was giving me and my brother some advice one time, and it was about the business. Gary Hart, man, always loved him because he's a white guy, but he was so cool. You thought he was a black guy if you talking to him on the phone. After the conversation, he goes, "Look, guys, I'm not a manager or anything like that. All right, I'm just an advisor." I was like, that was so damn cool. You know, when he said that, you know, I'm not a manager. I'm just an advisor. You know? I got to use that one day somewhere down the line. I'm definitely going to use that. And I guess that's what I am right now with my boy Hernandez. Gaspar Hernandez. Gaspar got some press last week on the internet, on the social media.
Nice.
I saw a story and it said, I wanted to call you about it too. Because I said on our show, that yeah, man, I might be willing to get back in there and do something with Gaspar Hernandez, and they wrote the story like I was going to get in and wrestle Gaspar.
I know. I saw those.
Being, his right hand man, his advisor, guy that's going to try to help him get to the next level. That's what that was about, guys. It's not about me wrestling or anything like that. I got this young kid at Reality of Wrestling named Gaspar Hernandez. I call him Dez. I feel like he's going to be a big star. And right now, I'm his second. I'm making sure I'm his wingman, making sure he does everything right because he's on a fast track to the next level. That's what that was about more than anything.
Let's talk about it before the show's over, though. Tyron Woodley, Jake Paul 2. Jake Paul wins by knockout, not TKO, by knockout cold. Tyron Woodley in the sixth round. Tyron was trying to reach for comment, but I believe he's still in a slumber after that knockout punch.
I saw him. He did an interview, his first interview with Fight Hub. He did I didn't see. I just saw the first part of the interview. First part was kind of weird because he was on his phone talking to his family, telling them, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm all right. You know what I mean? I'm good." But he's at the press conference. Seemed like he could have talked to the family before he got to the press conference. But his excuse for doing that at the press conference was that he has been with the media and in the public's eye since he's been doing this thing with Jake Paul. I'm paraphrasing. That he felt like it was his obligation to let them in on just a little bit of his family, Mama Woodley and all of that, the kids and this, that, whatnot, and the other. He said because in the UFC, you never got a chance to really know why he was doing this fight thing. But now you guys get a chance to see exactly why he's doing it, and the reason why he's doing it is because of his kids. It's because of his family. It's not because of the stardom, and him wanting to be a rapper, him having a big watch, him having the prime time life, like it was for a minute, when he had that title. It wasn't about the kids, it wasn't about that. It was about the kids. That's what that was all about. But the knockout, I tell you, he took the fight on 2 weeks' notice. Is that an excuse? One could say, but
sure.
I'm sure Tyron Woodley, he had already been talking about just the second fight. He had already been talking about the rematch. Fury, of course, had to pull out last minute. I don't know why Fury pulled out.
They said he was ill. No, I think it was something with his stomach or something like that. I don't really remember.
He's scared.
Yes.
Let's just call it that.
That's what it seemed like.
Get past it, but Tyron Woodley steps in on 2 weeks' notice, and he goes out and makes a pretty good account for himself up until the knockout. He only had 2 more rounds left. If he could have got past those 2 rounds, who's to say he couldn't have walked away with a decision? But that's not the way the fight game works. That's not the way the fight game works. If you fight for 7 good rounds and get knocked out, don't nobody remember nothing but the knockout. And the way he got knocked out, there's nobody going to remember anything. That was a poster. That's a meme. That's something that he's going to have to live with for the rest of his life. And then you got a guy in Tyron Woodley, not just losing to Jake Paul, a YouTuber, twice on his, last roundup in the UFC. He lost 4 in a row.
Yeah.
So he's lost his last 6 fights in a row. And where's your psyche at? after that. You know you're not going to be a boxer now. You know the UFC thing is over. I was reading Tyron Woodley made $4.8 million over his UFC career.
Oh, I thought you were going to say for this fight. Okay, for the UFC career. That's
$4.8 million for his UFC career. And I was hearing, I read for this fight he was making guarantee of $500,000.
Okay.
And that's not a whole lot of money. He definitely he's going to have to do something after this. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think's next for Tyron Woodley?
I don't know. You know what? Actually, I do know. I think Tyron Woodley, when I've heard him discuss fights, right, when I hear him talk about fights, he's actually, I think he's actually really good at that. I think he can get better. I don't think he's, out of this world, but I think he's good at it. So I think that, he, more than anybody, would actually be a really great voice for the UFC or Bellator or any of these other promotions to hire on as somebody who's been there, done that at the top of this game and can articulate himself rather well and knows what goes on inside the octagon. I think that that's a path that he should probably explore. I think that his fighting days in any stretch are over with. There's no point in seeing him fight Jake Paul a third time. There's no trilogy here. There's no other boxing matches out for him. I don't think there's any real drawing power that he would have with another organization to bring him in for a one-off fight. Unless for some reason down the road, UFC cuts Colby Covington and Bellator wants to throw money at the two of them to have one more fight. Maybe. I don't really know. I think that his fighting days are done. So Tyron should go ahead and think about, doing commentary or something in those regards, because I think he'd be good at it. I know that he might not have been pleased with the outcome of the fight, but I'm sure that his sponsor was thrilled by the outcome of it because he was sponsored by Dude Wipes. Dude Wipes is who sponsored him. When he got his ass knocked out, Dude Wipes logo was on the back of his trunks, and that was all the camera was filming. So I'm sure they were thrilled. They're like, hell yeah, we got some great camera time out of this. All over the internet, people know Dude Wipes now.
That was the worst you could get right there, man. I mean, he face planted. Oh God, man! I mean, just to see him on the ground with I don't know what that, a drone or what?
I think it's a drone camera. Yeah,
what the heck? How they get that shot right there? It was like I said, I felt sorry for him because he's never going to be able to live that down. I know we got to get out of here, but Derek Lewis, H-Town's finest, he went out there and finished up UFC final UFC card for the year against Chris Dukas. He was the underdog going into this fight. That's what's crazy more than anything.
Insane.
He was the underdog going into this fight. Dukas minus 140, Lewis plus 120, and he go out there and dust that boy out. 50 plus seconds in the second round, and I tell you, he crumbled. He crumbled, bro. Derek Lewis hit that boy Dukas with a right hand combination, just all over him, and it was
yeah,
like,
that's
man,
what it was.
That boy is bad, man. You never can count him out. He said, man, only way he won a title shot if they make title shots 3 rounds going forward. Otherwise, don't call me. Hey, we got one more before we get out of here.
S197 says Jake Paul should fight Canelo. I don't see that happening. I think he'd stay far away.
Nowhere near that level. That would just be a rout for Canelo Alvarez, and it could be the finish. He should be happy with these lower class UFC fighters and as many of them he can get. Stay on that route. That's a good route to stay on, and he can be very, very successful. Hey, guys, I appreciate you guys for sticking out in the Hall of Fame. We'll see you guys on Wednesday. Bradley, as always, we appreciate you. But right now, peace. We up out of here.
Can you dig it, you sucker?